Dear students, this is Fayaz Ahmad. I welcome you to my first e-class. We shall study climate of India for class ninth. Now, the first question is, why do we study the climate of a place? Well, dear students, for a common man, the newspaper, weather reports, print and electronic media reports are sufficient. He plans his activities accordingly, especially those people who are working in agriculture, horticulture, etc. They plan their days for spraying or for sowing seeds or for harvesting their crops. But for an administrator, a planner, an economist, something more is required as they have to plan for a longer time. They want to know what would be the condition of flood, drought, monsoon rains, etc. for the current administrative or financial year, so that steps would be taken beforehand to deal with the situation. In the first part of this e-class, our special focus shall be on weather, regional variations and elements of weather. In our second class, we shall discuss climate and the controlling factors of climate. Well, when we talk of climate, we mean the sum total of weather conditions and variation over a large area for a longer period of time. That is for more than 30 years. If this is climate, what is the weather then? And what are the seasons? Dear students, weather refers to the state or condition of atmosphere over a smaller area at any point of time that may vary from 1 day or even less than 1 day to 7 days, as you see in your day-to-day newspaper reports. And seasons means the average of weather conditions for a period of 1 month to 3 to 4 months. In Kashmir Valley, we have four distinct seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Whereas outside valley, we can differentiate only 2 to 3 seasons like winter, summer, and rainy season. So, if we study the climate of India for more than 30 years, we come to the conclusion that the climate of India is monsoon type. This type of climate is found in South and Southeast Asia. Now, word monsoon is derived from Arabic word mosam, which means changing direction. As the monsoon winds change their direction from southwest in the summer to northeast and from northeast to southwest in the winter. We shall discuss it later why these winds change their direction in the second part. Now, dear students, in spite of monsoon climate, there are clear regional variations throughout the country. In this show, I have shown the different relief features which later on play their role in original variation of climate of India. Upper left, we have the Himalayan mountain range. To the right, we have the desert. type of relief. Then we have coastal areas and the plains. When we study the weather, the climate, or the seasons, we take into consideration the following elements of weather, that is, temperature, atmospheric pressure, wind, humidity, and precipitation. Let's take two main elements of weather, that is temperature and precipitation, to examine the original variations. If we take the temperature, Barmer in Rajasthan may record 48 to 50 degree centigrade temperature on a June day, while it is hardly 22 degrees in Pahalgam and Gulmarg. In Dras, the temperature may fall to minus 40 degrees centigrade in winter. Kerala has a tropical climate with warm, moist air, whereas Punjab has a continental climate with severe heat, altering with severe cold. The annual range of temperature is just 3 degrees centigrade along the Malabar coast. When we talk of annual range, it is the difference between the average temperature of the hottest month and the average temperature of the coldest month. The reason here is in Malabar coast we have moderating effect of sea, whereas it is more than 20 degrees centigrade in the interior of India, that is the annual range of temperature, because it is away from the sea. The difference between the day and night temperature is hardly 7 degrees in Andaman and Nicobar and Kerala. Since I am making this presentation on Android phone, it causes a little inconvenience. I'm sorry for that. In Thar Desert, the daily temperature range is 25 to 30 degrees centigrade. That is, if the day temperature of Thar Desert is 50 degrees, the night temperature will fall to 20 to 25 degrees. Whereas opposite is case in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, it hardly varies from 7 to 8 degrees because of the, again, moderating effect of the sea. Now, another element of climate is precipitation. Precipitation means whatever we get from clouds, whether it is rain, it is hail, or it is sleet, all these forms are known as precipitation. Precipitation in Himalayan range is in the form of snow, while rest of India receives precipitation only in the form of rain. Now, if we see the again regional variations in precipitation, Cherrapunji and Mausinram receive an annual rainfall of 1100 centimeters, whereas Jaisalmer in Rajasthan receives only 9 centimeters of rainfall. Tura in Meghalaya is a place which receives rainfall in a single day, which is equal to 10 years of rainfall in Thar Desert. Here to the southern India, Coromandel coast is dry during summer months, whereas Ganga Delta and the coastal areas of Orissa experience strong storms during the same period. Whole of the India receives rainfall during the summer months except Tamil Nadu, which receives rainfall in the winter from northeastern monsoon winds. Now, another factor is variation in altitude. Altitude means the height from mean sea level. We know that for every 166 meters of rise in height, the temperature gets reduced by 1 degree. This is known as lapse rate. So it is clear that the mountain areas are cooler whereas the plain areas are hotter. You can imagine the height of Himalayas on an average is 6,000 meters, whereas the elevation hardly touches 30 meters in the coastal plains. Now calculate the difference at the rate of 1 degree per 160 or 166 meters downfall of temperature for 6,000 meters. That is why it is said that if we have a height of 5,000 meters at equator, we can have snow there also. One more factor responsible for the climate weather of a place is the high altitude areas, especially the mountainous. When the winds blow from the ocean towards the land, these high altitude areas stop these winds. They compel them to shed their load in the form of a rainfall. This side of the mountains is known as the windward side, whereas when these winds move to the opposite side, they are devoid of the moisture, they drop very little rainfall, and generally the leeward side, that is the opposite side of windward side, remains dry. This is what happens in the Western Ghats. The southwest monsoons are stopped by the Western Ghats and heavy rainfall occurs there in the coastal areas, whereas to the east of Western Ghats, the rainfall is comparatively low. Now the other controlling factors are latitude of a place, pressure and wind system, distance from sea, and ocean currents. We shall discuss them in our next part in detail. Thank you. If you have any question, please mail me at my email address or my phone number 990 6561